So I hope the market was good to you today on this Monday. We're going into an Apple iPhone event tomorrow, and we have some interesting developments in aftermarket with Nebius and their deal with Microsoft. It's a pretty eventful day. I wanted to talk about 6 stocks today: Soundhound, ONDS, Rigetti, Veritone AI, ACHR, and SEALSQ. So we're going to cover 6 stocks and a couple of quick news stories. All I ask of you is hit that like button. It helps more people see content like this, and it helps keep the retail investor informed. Really appreciate it if you hit the like button. And if you want to, feel free to subscribe. We do market news and cover quantum and AI stocks here. Let's jump in. So just leading with a quantum story here today, Infleqtion, which is a quantum company, is going to go public through their merger with Churchill Capital Corp. Infleqtion has entered into a definitive business combination agreement with Churchill Capital, valuing the quantum technology company at $1.8 billion. This deal is expected to provide more than $540 million in gross proceeds, including $416 million from Churchill's trust account and over $125 million from financing. Infleqtion translates quantum technology into solutions that expand human potential. Infleqtion designs, builds, and sells quantum computers, precision sensors, and software to governments, enterprises, and research institutions. My take from this: great news. Anytime a quantum company is going public, we want to see this more and more. This will kind of have a flywheel effect on the sector. As more quantum companies are out there competing, they will all push each other forward, and an advancement for one will be an advancement for all. Speaking of quantum, let's take a look at the quantum watch list. So today we had Skywater, the chip fabricator here on shore, and a chip fabricator for D-Wave, had an 11% day, an 8% day. IBM had a 3% day. Amazon had another nice trading day. And Arctic Quantum and IonQ were the losers of the day, with SEALSQ still struggling and just holding that 250 mark. So we're going to look at SEALSQ and I'll get my thoughts on that. So what's coming up tomorrow's the Apple September 9th event. So this is a big one for Apple. There should be releasing a new iPhone at this event and potentially new headphones. So we'll see. Apple's really great at these conferences and getting people excited about their new product announcements. What I'm personally looking forward to with Apple is their advancements in their camera technology. The best camera is the one that you have with you. So we see that Nebius is up 60% on a multi-billion-dollar AI infrastructure deal with Microsoft. Nebius said it signed a multi-billion-dollar agreement. Shares of the company soared more than 60% on the announcement. Nebius said that the first time it signed a long-term contract with a large tech company, and that there are likely more to come. So it's going to be crazy to see how Nebius grows in the coming years. I have a small position in Nebius, but I wish I had more for sure. Okay, now we're jumping into the stocks. So Soundhound, if you all remember, back in late 2024, was actually trading above $20 a share from the 16th of December till early January. And then there was some pretty major sell-off, and it went down to this $12. It was caught and went up to 17, got rejected off about 18. And we've kind of been in a recent, since March and April, as you can see by this trend line here that I've drawn on the chart, an uptrend. And recently, more recently in trading, we saw some aggressive sell-off. However, the trend line still remains intact, and we're seeing some more bullishness going into these next few trading days. So I want to give a few cases for Soundhound going forward. I think that it didn't close above this 1557 number is actually pretty important, because we can see that 1557 has been an area of resistance for Soundhound in the past. So we just closed right on top of 1557. So I could see a couple things. In my base case, I think we maybe look above 1557 and then come down and maybe get caught on 1424, maybe test again. In a bullish case, we flip that resistance 1557 to support. We want to see that maybe happen in the pre-market. And then we could move up and potentially fill the gap. We're going to draw another line here because 1678 looks like it's going to be another number to get through here as we have multiple rejections at that point. So in a bull case, maybe we come here and we flip that 15 to support. And if we can push up to 18, then we'd be talking about, once we're above 18, getting back to kind of those recent 52-week highs, which would be pretty crazy for Soundhound, especially because they had a 30% revenue surprise. So there is the catalyst of a company that's making more money and could potentially continue to make more money. So I continue to remain long on Soundhound. I'm probably targeting anywhere above 1790 as potential zone to start taking profits for my personal position. ONDS. All right, so ONDS, I have some fun news for ONDS. So ONDS was first shouted out on the channel here by Gene Inger, a regular contributor and analyst. And he mentioned ONDS for the first time. So I'm like, okay, let's just give it a try. And since then, the stock has gone up like crazy. I think just since June, the stock is up 400%. So an incredible explosion from ONDS and a great call from Gene. I also have been speaking to the CEO of ONDS, Eric Brock, and he's interested in coming on the channel. So I might do an interview with him, hopefully sometime soon, whenever his schedule allows. But ONDS has been doing great. The stock I don't even really have any lines or resistances. So if this bullish trend is to continue, then we'd be looking back at the 2022 highs of 843, 1171, or 1580. So there are some levels that ONDS would potentially be looking for to have a technical breakout and to post an all-time high. Right now, I would see 838, 1160, and 1581 for potential upside and levels to keep on watch. Levels to keep on watch for the downside are 455, 318, and definitely this $1 or even less, this 70 cents seems to be a support for ONDS. Previously, I don't know if I see that happening unless we go into a very bearish market. All right, let's take a look at Veritone. So Veritone AI, you know that on here on the Quantum Bull, the CEO of Veritone AI, Ryan Stilberg, came on and talked to us about the company. And I asked him, hey, the stock has been struggling for quite a while. And as we look to the left, we can see at one point, this was a $50 stock. And at one point, this was even a $70 stock. So it's been in a consistent downtrend. The company struggled, but recently there's been some positive price action. There has been a number of rejections. So if we look at this 318, we can see 1, 2, 3, we'll count that one, 4 rejections off 318. This rising support is intact. And what I'd be watching for, and I'll give a few cases here for Veritone, what I'd be watching for is a breakdown and back into this channel of $1.50 and below. Then we're definitely very bearish going forward. So that would be a bear case. A base case would be a bounce here and a rejection here. And Veritone would buy itself a little bit more time to decide which direction it wants to go. And in a bullish case, we'd have a bounce and we come above 318 and then test 377 and maybe 413. That would probably need a catalyst or some sort of news or euphoria in the market or a rate cut. So a rate cut might help these smaller cap companies get out of some zones they've been in for a while. All right, so Rigetti. If we zoom out from Rigetti, one thing is clear. Rigetti for a long time has been in a slow and steady uptrend. Now, it has not got close to its December highs as of yet, but it's had a couple recent surges to 17, 18, 17. So if I bring back my drawings, you can see that a little bit more clearly that there is a pretty significant gap here to fill. if Rigetti is able to get over 18. Now, right now it's trading at about $15 a share, which seems to be a good level of support for Rigetti. If we look back, we've seen Rigetti reject off of 15 in the past. So we saw it here, we saw it here, and here. And we've also seen Rigetti use 15 as support. So it looks like a lot of buyers are stepping in lately at the $15 price point. So I'm still bullish on Rigetti. It's still holding its uptrend. It will need some sort of sector tailwinds or catalyst to have a push. Maybe on the technicals alone, it could have a nice candle one of these days if we have a nice market backdrop. So let's keep watching Rigetti. And of course, in a bearish case, we would break this uptrend, move down to potentially a 1245, or even go down and retest a lower support like potentially an $11 area. So keep Rigetti on your radar to the upside if it is able to continue this longer uptrend. All right, ACHR Aviation. So I know probably some of you are in this. I've talked about ACHR quite a bit on this show, and I really think that we are at a critical moment for ACHR, and ACHR needs to decide, is it going to continue this uptrend, or are we going to see more downside? Are we going to go and test previous levels like $6, or are we going to come down? And we've already been, if we look back at March and April, so in April, we were down at that $6 point, but in March, we were at $6.63 and saw a rally, even in March when the market was bad, to almost $9. So we're below March and April numbers at this point in time, and kind of right on this rising trend line with low volume. So we haven't had, we've had volume that's been diminishing, and we're kind of on the lower end of the RSI. And what we want to see is some volume come in, and we want to see a bounce off of this rising support. That's what I'm looking for, this trend line. So that's what I'm hoping for with ACHR. And I think Joby and ACHR are in a similar situation where they both will run together if there's any good sector news for eVTOL. And I think that there is going to be more good news even in 2025. So just stay tuned for that. All right. And finally, SEALSQ. I know a lot of you who are in SEALSQ are frustrated. And this has been a frustrating chart because there hasn't been a lot of life. We had a little bit of rally in May, and we touched $4, had a couple look above $4, and we've just been selling down. In fact, if you look back to the dregs of March and April, this stock was at one point in March and April a $2 stock, and we are not too far away from it being a $2 stock again. If I bring back my drawings, you can see the downtrend that it's been in. It's sort of started to move sideways a little bit out of this downtrend. So perhaps it's trying to get out of the gulag, or if you will, but it is struggling for sure. We need to see a good day with LAES. We need to see a break above 269, 298, 345, and 388 for it to reclaim some key levels. And it hasn't even come close to its December, January figures of $9, $10, $11 shares. So a lot of work for LAES. This is a company, SEALSQ, where I think it's just ahead of its time, multiple iterations ahead of its time. Quantum computing is still proving itself, and this is a company that's dedicated to protecting against quantum attacks. So it's very far ahead. I think a patient long-term investor could be rewarded in this case, and maybe not. You know, all investments carry risk, but me personally, I'm long and strong in SEALSQ, not too worried about day-to-day price movements, but I do see that the wider market sentiment and appetite for this stock isn't in high demand yet. that could change here in the next year or two as fault-tolerant quantum computers start to become more and more mainstream, as we start to see big companies release their versions of fault-tolerant quantum computers. All right, guys, that is everything I have for you. I hope you really enjoyed this content. We covered 6 stocks in about 15 minutes and covered some of the market news. If you appreciate content like this, do me a favor, leave a like if you want to, leave a comment. And if you're in any of these tickers, what do you think? Do you think that we have a bright future ahead for these companies, or is this just sideways money for a while? And thanks for sticking around. Appreciate you supporting the channel. We'll see you in the next one. I hope you really enjoyed that content. It's my goal to provide quality content as much as possible and with as little interruption as possible. If you'd like to support my efforts and the channel, I offer 3 different membership options. It's super easy to sign up, and it starts at just $4.99 a month. And you just click the subscribe button and you can learn more.